all of you and in preparing for this conference. So we're welcoming you to the 53rd International Conference on Sino-Tibetan Languages and Linguistics. We have a great 3 days planned today, starting at 4, tomorrow at 4, and on Sunday at 4 Central Time. We also have some special sessions, so we want you to please take a look at the special sessions. They're announced both on the website under special sessions as well as in the program booklet. There's one that's happening today where Christine Hildebrandt and her group are going to talk about one set of broader impacts that our documentation work has, that is looking at people who have been in, victims of disaster and what that really does to their language use. And so we're going to hear about that today. Tomorrow, we're going to be looking at interlinear gloss texts, and we're really excited about that session, and we hope that you can for it by reading about what we're doing for the instructions on the website, and also going to folders that we've prepared where we have collated examples of interlinear gloss text from different languages. I think some of you, Chris, I know you've donated some interlinear gloss text there for us to look at. What we're interested in doing is looking within our different subgroups to see where we have agreement and disagreement in 3 different things in how we're glossing those texts. One is just the syntax of it. Where do we use dashes? Where do we have word space? Where do we use equal signs? So just the simple kind of mechanics of how we're analyzing what a word is. The second is how we're actually glossing. What is our value for our annotations? And then the third part is how we're dealing with history. So do we gloss with diachrony in mind or synchrony in mind? So we would like to just have people subgroups and see how things gel for those subgroups. And so that's happening tomorrow. Jim Matisoff is giving the keynote for that about his own Lahu text and the way that he's been annotating. On the third day, we're going to have a special session where we talk about the kind of work we're doing, language documentation, and how that might have help for people who are, need information on COVID. That will be on the third day. So broader impacts on day 1 and day 3, and then IGT on day 2. So please join us for those special sessions. Other than that, we have some fun things happening as well, which Adam is going to tell us about those parties that we're having, our virtual parties. Before we do that, before we go to Adam, I would like to just say all of my thanks right now to the great group that we have here that's been helping put this together. So we'll start with Adam Chavez. Adam and I have been on the website and so on. We started working early this year. He's been meeting with me regularly and really been such a help, and he continues to be and will be here through all of this, all of the conference. And Marty Heaton is here. He's a new PhD student in information science, and he's hired through a National Science Foundation grant, which is supporting our conference. So thank you to the National Science Foundation. This is the second time that I know of. Jim, you have a 53-year history knowledge of the conference, so they may have supported many times, but I know the Dartmouth conference was supported by NSF, and ours is as well. So Marty is able to help us because of their funding, and also we will be in touch with you throughout the year about the IGT project with Marty's help. I'd also like to thank Mary Burke, who's been working with me really steadily putting the program together and coordinating. Anytime I've needed my head cleared, I've just called her and said, let's talk through this, and she's helped me get things settled. And then finally, we have all of our student workers that you're going to be seeing at the session. And I'm going to leave somebody out. So Marion, Carmen, Jonathan, Ben, who else is on our, Janisha. When you see them, say thank you. You'll virtually see them. I invite you to go early to your session so that you can say hi to everybody and at least have a feeling like you're mingling. So they will be there. We will open the doors to the sessions at least 10 minutes, if not 15 minutes early, so you can pop in and say hi. So welcome everybody, welcome to the virtual University of North Texas campus. One day we will see each other face to face, but we're happy we can do this much. I'm now going to turn it over to Adam to give us some more program notes. Adam, take it away.
Okay, thank you, Shobana. Well, as she just mentioned, I want to welcome everybody here today to the ICSTLL53 conference at the College of Information at UNT. Shobana had pointed out that this was really a great team effort on all of our parts. And she had mentioned some of the student organizers, but just to give you the full listing here, we're talking about Marion Dale, Jonathan Paramore, Janisha Ash, Wesley Scavetti, Mary Burke, Marty Heaton, Benjamin Hall, Carmen Colin, and Evelyn Blair. So the way you can identify them when you're perusing around and joining these various sessions this evening, just look for the green background behind us. We've got the cool animated background that you can see the logos. So if you spot one of them, feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. As far as the events that we have planned, so after this very distinguished group of speakers this evening, at 9:30, we'll have an organized social hour. So basically, if we had gathered here in person today, you know, we would have all been able to kind of greet one another and shake each other's hands and sort of network. So we have a special room set up in room 4, and you can refer to your program guide. Marty was the one that did a great job of organizing that. So look for room 4, and at about 9:30, we will all gather together for those that would like to stay up, depending on what time zone you're in. And we'll have a social gathering there, and we can kind of meet one another and introduce ourselves. So that's going on at 9:30 tonight. And then Saturday, we're going to do another social hour, organized social hour. We'll do a mixer by subgroup. And so for that, we'll kind of randomly disperse some of you to different rooms so you can maybe talk individually instead of as an entire room. And then on Sunday, okay, Sunday, the big day. Hello, are you waiting for this? We're going to do a talent show, right? Is that what it says here? It's a talent show. So if you've got a microphone, bring it out. And if you can sing, think of a song to sing and you can share it with us. Or if you happen to play something musically, we'd love to hear the instrument that you're probably gifted in. I know no instruments that I'm good at. But also we have poems. If you happen to have a poem that you'd like to share with us, we'd love to hear you recite that to everybody here. So that's at Sunday at 8:30. Okay, so that's the talent show. So think about it. Think about in your catalog of talents which you could possibly share with us, okay? All right, so that's going on from today, Saturday and Sunday. So tonight, 9:30 social hour. And I think that's it, Shobana. I'll take it back to you.
Thanks, Jim. So thanks, Adam. So all of the rooms are listed in the program and with the password as well. So if you don't remember, you can just go back to the website and find those. And please feel free to email ICSTLL@unt.edu or just email me directly. That's fine. This is what I'll be happy to help. So I wanted to now turn the podium over to Jim Matasoff, founding member of ICSTLL. I don't know what you have planned for us, but thank you for agreeing to give us some, words of welcome. So over to you, Jim.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you see me and hear me?
We can hear you.
You can't see me?
You're not looking at your screen, are you?
I am.
Oh.
I think you turned your screen off.
It looks like
is that okay?
Now we see your name. And it had been on.
It's a gallery view.
Here's your name again.
Start video.
Yeah, do that. And then are you standing? Did you move?
I'm sitting down.
Okay. Do you need to move the camera so
I'll switch to active speaker I have.
It looks like the camera is angled up to the ceiling or something.
Yeah.
Jim, do you have an iPad or a desktop?
It's a tablet.
a tablet. Okay, so maybe the camera of the tablet isn't facing you.
It is. Worked yesterday. Did you see me before, Shobana? When
Yes, we saw you just fine until I turned it over to you.
Yes, but as you move the tablet, we can see
I
the
think
the image
I think-
changing. So it's
I
the
think
camera.
I think Shobana's right that it's pointed at the ceiling.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know this
Okay.
because this is what my dad does every day when I talk to him.
well,
Think
the
so,
same
sir.
dinosaur generation.
We saw something briefly. Like
Okay, there's all kinds of things on top of it. Mute, stop video, share content, participants. Maybe that one.
No, Jim, those things are just fine. It just seems like your camera is pointed at something or has a piece of paper over it or is looking at the ceiling.
Or maybe the camera got flipped.
there we go. Now we see the lamp.
Lamp.
Okay,
Or the desk.
okay. But not me. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's flipped and looking in a different direction.
Yeah.
Dr. Matisoff, your camera is, I think, your video feed is showing from the rear camera, sir.
Oh, maybe the button was pressed to
Yep,
yeah.
that's probably what happened, Dr. Chilia.
So where do we need to, where is that
Here.
control?
So this is my front. Well, I'm just showing since I have a tablet. I have a Surface Pro, and I'm just gonna. I don't know. I just thought I might help since I have a tablet, if need, but I won't take too much time about this. So.
Oh, is it still the camera angle?
Front camera, and then.
See, now we can see
you.
Mhm. David, is there like on my phone, there's a place where I can press to have it switch around? Is there that similar on the
I have
iPad?
something called switch camera. There it is. There it is.
Yep.
Oh, yes, we can
There
see
you
you
are.
now.
Switch my camera
Okay,
too,
okay.
so if anyone wants to watch my feed real quick, just to see if it works. So,
We got it, Ross. We got it. Thank you. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So good afternoon or good morning or good evening, whichever is more appropriate for where you are. Well, since I'm the last man standing from the original Gang of Eight that founded these conferences back in 1968, Shobana has asked me to say a few words about how the conferences got started. So without going into too much detail, let's go back about 80 years, when two American amateur linguists, the journalist Robert Schaefer and a recent PhD in anthropology named Paul K. Benedict, met in Berkeley in 1938. There, under the sponsorship of the anthropologist A.L. Kroeber, they carried out a project called Sino-Tibetan Linguistics, which undertook to assemble all the data on Tibeto-Burman languages that was to be found in the sources then available, especially the Linguistic Survey of India by Gerson and Kono in the early years of the 20th century. So this was actually a Depression era Works Project Administration Project, WPA, intended to put people back to work. Using this material, Benedict produced a concise manuscript called Sino-Tibetan A Conspectus, which he soon forgot about and stuck into a drawer. After all, it was wartime, and nobody else was much interested in such arcane matters anyway. So Benedict abandoned linguistics, went to medical school, and became a psychiatrist. So now, if you'll permit me some personal reminiscences, let's fast forward to the summer of 1963, when I was a grad student at Berkeley, and I had the chance to work intensively with a wonderful Jingpo consultant. We actually called them informants in those days, Leroy Moran, who later became a professor of linguistics at the University of Indiana. Perhaps nothing much would have come of this if by chance the language chosen for the Berkeley Field Methods course that fall had not been Burmese. I was intrigued to notice that a number of the forms looked quite similar in Jingpo and Burmese. For my dissertation research, I received a fellowship to continue my Jingpo studies in Burma, but 1964 was a year that all foreigners were expelled from Burma. So my advisor, Mary Haas, suggested that I go to Thailand instead to work on a different Tibeto-Burman language, which turned out to be Lahu. Towards the end of my time in Thailand in 1966, I was offered a job at Columbia. I'd written an article called Lahu and Proto-Lolo-Burmese, which I sent out to a few friends, one of whom resent it to Benedict, who was then living in New York State, not far from Columbia. Benedict wrote me a long letter saying that he and Schaefer had, quote, gone over this ground a long time ago. To make a long story short, Benedict and I became friends. Once he invited me to his home in Briarcliff Manor, where he opened a drawer in his study and pulled out a copy of the manuscript of the conspectus. It blew my mind when I read it, and an edited version was published a couple of years later. Meanwhile, the systematic study of the languages of East and Southeast Asia was finally achieving a sort of escape velocity or critical mass at several universities in the Eastern US, especially at Yale, Princeton, Columbia, and Cornell. As a result of all this activity, it was decided to organize a meeting on Sino-Tibetan reconstruction at Yale in the fall of 1968, with only 8 participants, 3 from Yale, 1 from Princeton, 3 from Columbia, and Benedict. In 1969, the meeting was held in Columbia, in 1970 at Cornell, and so forth. From the beginning, there was no central organizing committee. Each year, someone would volunteer or would be pressured into undertaking the work of raising funds, arranging accommodations, soliciting contributions, and so forth. As time went on, the scope of the conferences broadened to include not only reconstruction, but also synchronic studies and grammar as well as phonology. We soon welcomed contributions dealing with the other language families, which have been in close contact with Sino-Tibetan for millennia, Tai Kadai, Hmong Mien, and Hmong Khmer. The first 8 conferences were all held in the US. Then starting with number 9 in Copenhagen, 76, we decided to hold every 3rd conference outside the US. Number 12 was in Paris in 79, and this is the first year that scholars from the People's Republic of China participated. The first one in China itself was number 15 in Beijing in 1982, and number 18 was in Bangkok in 85. But from then on, the policy of every 3rd one outside the US broke down, and the conference was held each year wherever a volunteer could be found to organize it. By now, it has been held in 13 countries, increasingly in Asia. This is actually the 2nd time we've met in Texas. The first time was already 30 years ago, number 23 at UT Arlington in 1990. I can't help wondering whether this virtual format might be the new normal for academic conferences in the future. In any case, we are all very grateful to Shobhana for taking on the yoke this time under such difficult circumstances. Let us hope that this now venerable conference will continue forever in some form or another. I wish you all as much pleasure and intellectual stimulation from this and all future conferences as I've had over the decades. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much for addressing us and for sharing that history with us. Our virtual clapping. We now have, well, pretty much everybody is here, I think, and we are very much on time. I want to just point out that we have 3 rooms, and so you are welcome to check where you need to be and then find the link and head out to your room, room 1, 2, or 3. I want to thank Jim again for giving his address, and we will hear at the end from Scott Delancey. So it'll be nice to have both of you, you know, putting this in context for us and encouraging us to keep, as you said, Jim, keep this going. So usually at the end of a conference, we try to announce where the 54th is going to be. And I know that you, Jim, and others kind of network and try to find somebody who's going to take it over. And I don't know how we're going to do that in this virtual space, but come early and encourage us. Encourage to think about it. Yeah.
Well, actually, we have a tentative offer to have it in Chengdu in 2021.
Fantastic.
But who knows whether it's going to be possible to go to China.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That may have to be the following year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks a lot, guys, for being here for this opening event, and then we will break now. You can mute your speaker and maybe stop your video, and then go to the room that you would like to what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this room and then back into room number 3. I'm not sure. Some of you may want to stay in room number 1. Others may need to. Do we only have? We have all 3 rooms right now, I believe. Some may want to go to room 2. Yeah. See you soon then. See you in one of the rooms.